please like, share, and subscribe. Underwater UFOs. Are we alone in the deep? In 1967, multiple witnesses observed in silent fear as a UAP crashed into the waters near Shag Harbor, Canada. When Navy divers arrived to investigate, they discovered nothing but dark, still waters concealing all evidence, while an eerie silence hung over the foggy harbor. I've mapped over 200 similar events across the globe's oceans, all sharing identical paranormal electromagnetic signatures. The pattern reveals something terrifying. These events are increasing in frequency, and September's vanished research vessel is the latest victim. The paranormal precedes each disappearance, leaving only a ghostly echo in its wake. What forces lurks beneath these waters, and why are they growing more active now? Everything from ancient aliens to government experimental craft is offered up as an explanation. Which is it? Whispers from the deep. The Vanishing Expedition. The Pacific Ocean holds many secrets, but none more disturbing than what occurred on September 15th, 2023. It was 3:27 a.m. when Dr. Roberto Rodriguez's phone pierced the silence of his bedroom. The voice on the other end was tense, clinical, almost detached. The Oceanic Explorer had disappeared, vanished. This research vessel had been conducting routine deep-sea studies approximately 200 miles off the Southern California coast, when all contact abruptly ceased. What haunted me most about this case were the fragments of its final transmission. The movement patterns of the drones is impossible, unnatural, breaking the surface tension without displacement. No wave formation, none. The voice transformed from steady to frantic before dissolving into silence. The sonar readings tell a story that violates everything we understand about marine physics. Objects moving at depths of 20,000 feet reached speeds of 1,500 knots, 50 times faster than nuclear submarines in optimal conditions. In those crushing pressures, such movement is impossible. The readings sat on my desk, the numbers conflicting with what I knew to be common sense. The captain's personal logs, along with other records, were uploaded to the cloud and revealed a crew drenched in fear. With 30 years at sea, this seasoned explorer documented strange deep-water objects, coming closer and closer to his ship, almost taunting him. His final entry chills me each time I read it. A sketch of concentric circles like crop circles on the calm, open sea, with 3 underlined words: "They're here." The crew's communications chronicle their psychological unraveling. "I can't shake the feeling that I'm being watched," the marine biologist wrote. "Every time I deploy the submersible, something's in behind me." Another awakened from his sleep, waking up the crew screaming, "They are dragging me down! God help me!" These weren't green researchers. These were hardened scientists, skeptics. Salvaged footage was uploaded as well, and shows formations of blue light that move with disturbing quickness. They pulse in sequences unknown to marine biology, forming perfect repeating geometric patterns before vanishing instantly. Unlike any known bioluminescent organism, they don't drift aimlessly but move with calculated purpose, forming patterns, trying to instill fear. The explorer's final position was directly above the Redondo Trench, a 20,000-foot underwater canyon few beyond oceanographic circles know exists. Our technology becomes useless at such depths. This deep water canyon connects to almost every disappearance I mention, in a web of deep-water caverns scientists have barely mapped. The truth that freezes my blood. The Explorer marks the 7th vessel to vanish in these waters. 6 other research ships have disappeared within the same 50-mile radius since 1972, each under similar circumstances. The official government reports cite mechanical failures or weather events, contradicting the multiple accounts of clear skies and routine operations reported in their final communications. Dr. Rodriguez discovered a pattern in these vanishings. Each disappeared ship recorded electromagnetic anomalies before the final loss of communication. When mapped together, these disturbances form an identical pattern across all 7 incidents, like a signature or a calling card. Some underwater dark anomaly announcing itself. A predator that knows we're watching, feeding off of our fear. Echoes from the past. Patterns in the dark. That electromagnetic signature was an ancient, reoccurring sign. When Dr. Rodriguez began cross-referencing historical maritime records, he found his hands trembling over a yellowed page from Christopher Columbus's journal. The night before discovering the New World, Columbus stated, "Unearthly lights flashing across the bottom of the ocean forming patterns, moving up and down like a wax candle." The same pattern that preceded the Oceanic Explorer's vanishing, except 500 years before. This nocturnal fingerprint echoed through time, leaving impressions across centuries and cultures. On September 20th, 1492, Columbus noted stars that moved independently. The blue orb then moved from its place and into the ocean. These weren't superstitious ramblings, but careful observations from one of history's most meticulous navigators. These paranormal occurrences appeared throughout naval history. Egyptian hieroglyphs depicted submarine-like vessels with humanoid figures, while Norse sages described shining shields emerging from fjord depths before vanishing beneath waves again. In these accounts, sailors went missing. Modern military records revealed even deeper mysteries. A declassified Navy document from 1960 detailed the Golfo Nuevo incident, where Argentinian vessels tracked unidentified submarine objects that mysteriously multiplied from 2 into 6 separate entities, forming geometric patterns. Sailors reported severe radioactive burns after observing the phenomena. Hidden in the document margins, Rodriguez discovered a small footnote referencing Operation Mainbrace, a 1952 NATO exercise that transformed into something far stranger. During this North Sea naval operation, multiple military personnel reported USO sightings. On September 20th, 1952, 3 Danish officers observed a disc-shaped object rise from the water and pass over them. The date, September 20th, perfectly mirrored Columbus's strange sighting from 460 years earlier, creating an unsettling connection. "I needed to find someone who was there," Rodriguez later explained. Through painstaking research, he located a hesitant retired naval officer who had served aboard the USS Franklin D. Roosevelt during Operation Mainbrace. "I was on radar duty when it appeared," the elderly officer recounted, his voice shaking decades later. A cigar-shaped object approached the ship silently and then submerged with glowing lights. Multiple crew members witnessed it. By morning, those of us who saw it were transferred off the ship. The logs were altered, and every mention was erased. We were threatened with loss of job and pension if we said anything. What disturbed Rodriguez most wasn't just the encounter itself, but the systematic effort to erase it from history and the threats to the officers. The pattern of threatening cover-ups suggests a deliberate effort, even with the threat of violence, to keep information about these encounters from the public. The question is, why? Basso. The eyewitness accounts is part of a systematic suppression spanning decades, with the highest levels of naval intelligence working to bury information about underwater encounters. Reports were classified, witnesses were reassigned or disappear, and logs were carefully sanitized. Voices from the abyss. The witnesses speak. While government agencies could redact reports and reassign personnel, they couldn't erase the memories haunting those who had seen these paranormal phenomena and felt them staring back. When Dr. Rodriguez tracked down Charles Howard at his modest Florida home, the former Navy Chief Petty Officer's hands trembled as he recounted his 2000 experience near Guantanamo Bay. "I was standing watch aboard the USS Thorn when I caught something out of the corner of my eye," Howard explained. his voice barely above a whisper. A white light, maybe 10 feet across, glowing beneath the surface. I suffered severe third-degree burns, and my friend next to me died weeks later from radiation poisoning. He described in fear how 2 additional lights appeared as the strange illumination approached their docked vessel, forming a perfect triangle before vanishing entirely into the sea. He, too, was threatened not to reveal his experience to anyone. Howard's sighting echoed similar events across other testimonies. Patrick Uskert's 2006 dive into the Redondo Trench began as routine: collect sediment samples from the ocean floor. But their Geiger counters detected radiation patterns that defied explanation. "I've been diving for 20 years in some of the most dangerous waters on the planet," Uskert confided. "But nothing prepared me for what I felt down there." His eyes darkened. "I didn't feel like I belonged there. I didn't feel like I was supposed to be there." The sensation wasn't just fear. His oxygen tank was depleting quickly, for no reason. He barely made it back to the surface. The Puerto Rican Coastal Police Archives yielded compelling evidence. Officer Carlos Torres's 2004 footage showed a glowing object emerging from Laguna Cartagena, moving with the same impossible underwater fluidity described by the Oceanic Explorer's sonar operator. Acceleration, directional changes, and speeds that violated the laws of physics. Frame-by-frame analysis revealed the object hovering momentarily at the water's surface, without creating a splash or wake before vanishing into the night sky. The water beneath remained eerily still. But these witnesses, strangers who would never meet, used nearly identical phrases to describe their experiences. A commercial diver off South Africa, a submarine technician in the North Sea, a marine biologist in the Sea of Japan, all described the overwhelming sense that they weren't merely observing an anomaly, but being threatened by an invisible force. Not like how we think of life. Something else. One of them noted, "I've never told anyone this part, but I sensed it was thriving on our fear. Like something that had been asleep for a very long time had reawakened, something ancient." Ripples on the surface. The water tells tales. These words haunted Dr. Rodriguez long after their conversation ended. What if water itself was something more fundamental to these entities' existence? The geometric patterns left behind on water surfaces near USO sightings weren't random disturbances. Maybe they were messages written in a language from an advanced civilization. The 1966 Tully, Australia case captured Dr. Rodriguez's attention. When George Pedley witnessed a disc-shaped object rising from Horseshoe Lagoon, it left behind a perfect circular impression that defied explanation. The whirlpool effect persisted for days, violating the natural laws of fluid dynamics. Navy scientists found no explanation for how the circular pattern remained intact far longer than physically possible. Something had fundamentally altered the water's molecular structure. "What's most significant about Tully?" Dr. Rodriguez whispered, showing me his research files, "is that water samples from the site contained traces of beta radiation. Those samples mysteriously disappeared shortly after testing." He revealed satellite imagery from the day before the Oceanic Explorer vanished. The images showed geometric patterns on the ocean's surface near the vessel's last known coordinates. Perfect concentric circles identical to those documented at Tully decades earlier. "Water has memory," he explained, indicating research on electromagnetic fields affecting H2O molecules. "These aren't just ripples from something moving through water, they're deliberate imprints, like ancient text preserved on a living membrane." His investigation uncovered remarkable connections. The water patterns matched symbols found in underwater caves dating back 30,000 years. Symbols appearing across ancient civilizations that had no contact with each other. Modern oceanographic surveys revealed formations in deep-sea trenches that appeared artificial. Perfect geometric structures unexplainable by geological processes. These structures consistently appeared near documented USO activity sites. Advanced sonar mapping of the Redondo Trench revealed massive cavern systems, large enough to house Manhattan-sized structures, at crushing depths. We've assumed any pre-human intelligent life would have left ruins on land, Dr. Rodriguez said. But what if the first advanced civilization to come to our planet never inhabited the land at all? The sophisticated patterns left in water near USO sightings showed evidence of molecular manipulation that exceeded modern human technological capabilities. Whatever was creating these impressions wasn't just moving through water. It was speaking through it, altering its fundamental structure, playing with it to create a warning. I studied the photographs Dr. Rodriguez arranged. Ancient petroglyphs from underwater caves, satellite imagery of oceanic anomalies, and microscopic images of water molecules from USO sites that were undeniable, suggesting an intelligence that communicated and destroyed through the manipulation of water. His breakthrough revelation was that these water patterns formed a coherent mathematical language with repeating symbols documented across centuries. The same symbols appeared in satellite imagery hours before the Oceanic Explorer's disappearance. "These are deliberate signs or warnings," he said, his voice falling to a whisper. "And if I'm right about what they're saying, whatever's down there isn't a friendly intelligence. It's threatening us. It hates us." The vastness of our planet's oceans remains one of man's greatest unexplored frontiers. With water covering more than 2/3 of Earth's surface, the darkness below conceals secrets that might fundamentally change our understanding of reality. As Dr. Sylvia Earle noted, we know more about the surface of Mars than we do about the depths of our own oceans. This ignorance isn't merely academic. It may be dangerous. Think about this. While we search the cosmos for signs of intelligence, ancient aliens might lurk just beneath our oceans, watching our primitive attempts at exploration. The evidence suggests that maybe we aren't the first intelligent species to explore Earth. The earliest presence on our planet may dwell in the ancient, lightless depths, where pressure and isolation have hidden technology beyond our comprehension. Those in the water leave signs for us, warning us to stay away.